All right, everybody. Take the headphones off. It is Wednesday evening, and I am Texas Garden Guy, and this is the Garden Party. This is the Garden Party, and we want a garden party with you. We talk about the plants you grow and some things you might not know. Garden Party. All right, Phil, introduce yourself, dude.
What up, everybody? It's your favorite plant parent and regular parent, the leader of the figs, Phil from Phil's Figs. Hola, fresh back from Tejas.
You were.
Como
Tejas.
están?
Did you learn some Spanish while you were down here?
Un poco.
Un po-
What does poco mean? I took 4 years of Spanish in high school. I should know what poco means. I have no idea what poco means.
Only a little.
Little.
Un petit pois.
That's
S'il vous
French.
plaît.
Oh, that's French.
Oh.
Gotcha. Was testing you one state over in Louisiana.
Real.
Louisiana, brother. Oh my goodness! Thank you as always, Mr. Phil's Figs, for coming on, dude. We have our third member of the garden party, Miss Gardening with Deserae Lindsley. Go ahead, Lindsley. Go ahead.
Got an extra L in there.
Got a love when you say it. You know?
Hey, it's Gardening with Des, your favorite bug person, and plant parent as well, and friend of these two. And we just had an amazing weekend. It was so much fun.
Oh my gosh.
It was so much fun.
It was so much fun.
And it's still super hot here. Very hot.
It was 58 this morning here.
Yeah, it was same here.
Stop bragging. No.
It was 58 in Houston too.
No.
What? It's awesome.
It was
we had
60 something here. I didn't have
we had a little cold front come in like last night, and we woke up this morning. It was 58, and man, it felt amazing outside. I wore a jacket to work. It was nice. It felt like fall, and it's supposed to be like high mid 80s, low 60s the rest of the week. Like it's gonna be nice.
Oh,
like,
man. In the mornings, as they say in New England, it's sweater weather. Sweater weather.
Sweater weather.
Sweater weather. You know, park my car down here. It's over here, sweaty weather. You know,
I am super jealous right now. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, after our talk, it sounds like you should move out of Austin. It sounds like you need to move out of Austin. Is what it sounds like.
Y'all saw that video I sent you.
I saw your yard looks crispy.
It's crispy here. It's bad. We haven't had any rain for like 50 days or something like that. I'm over it.
That's insane.
Is that normal though? Or is that not normal?
It's the new normal lately.
It's the new normal. Well.
Yeah. This year has been better than last year though. It hasn't been quite so brutally hot, but it's still pretty hot. And we're on watering restrictions, so I try to be like careful about how often I'm watering. You can hose in water like with the hand sprayer as much as you want, but there's like specific days you're supposed to water. I don't know.
That's tough for certain plants, you know? Like if you're trying to keep your consistency on tomatoes and stuff going, they're gonna it's gonna stink. Water restrictions. Understandably so, especially where people are located. That can be really tough. But like, what are you talking? Like Wednesdays and Fridays, like Wednesdays, Saturdays, like twice a week, thrice a week?
So like Friday between like 4 or 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. and like 11 or midnight, like on Friday. They do it by
Just
like
Friday.
Your odd number, like your address by your odd numbered addresses and your even numbered addresses is how they split it up. And if you're one or the other, I can't remember. So mine is on Friday. Then the other would be on Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Dee says she's on watering 2 days a week.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Is that Texas?
It's brutal.
If I had to guess, I bet it is.
It's brutal. I don't even have vegetables going right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm in the middle of trying to decide what I'm doing next. I'm plotting out my plan.
You should go. You should get really into succulents. Like get really into like succulents and xeriscape your entire yard. Like go like all gravel and stuff, and get like in like desert roses and like there's so many like codiforms and all kinds of crazy stuff. You could be a succulent princess.
But
no, I have an idea on that actually, Des. I have an idea because you can like stagger, so you can hide the succulents up against like the fence, and so when everything dies, the succulents are like, "I'm here now."
No. Well, it's so bad that I do have like some succulents. Like I have some aeoniums in my annual urns, my big urns, and the sun is burning them.
Oh, shoot.
No lie, it really is. But also, I already have like a couple of years ago, I xeriscaped at least like a quarter of the backyard, like right around our pergola, and then we have our whole patio, and we have a flagstone and rock area, and then my greenhouse sits on top of some DG and like big huge looter tile stones and stuff. So technically I do have quite a bit of xeriscaping, but adding more will just make my yard hotter because my microclimate is already so flipping hot. I cannot. I want more trees. Like I have nightmares about shade trees being cut down. It's ridiculous.
Well, because you said your neighbors have nice shade trees, and they're at the possibility of losing those, which is really tough.
Yeah,
because it makes the difference for sure.
We have a couple of shade trees in our own like backyard, one in the back and one in the front. But the neighbors, like they're a 2-story house, and they shade our backyard, and the trees that they have back there also give us shade. So it's kind of a whole thing.
Can you hand water every day?
You can hand water every day if you want to, but listen.
Oh, you're good then. You're good.
It's too much.
You're good.
That's your steps in.
You haven't been here yet to see, but it's a lot to water, you know?
Okay.
Too
so
much.
So now this all makes sense. They don't want like golf courses and places like that using their like big sprinkler systems. They want people like that. But if you hand water your garden, you can do it every single day.
Well, yes, but
well, then what are you talking about? You can water your plants.
Listen to me. When it is this hot, like you don't understand. It is so dry hot here, and it's like the water just gets sucked right out of the plants and out of the ground. And so honestly, trying to keep up with it with hand watering is so labor intensive that at a certain point, you just have to be like, okay, I'm going to have these things under the shade. These are the things I'm going to prioritize watering until we get some more fall rain. So that's why I really leaned into adding more native to my area perennials, because they can actually take the heat. The only thing flowering in my garden right now is Greg's mist flower, and it's going crazy. My Vitex are barely flowering. They're dropping all of their leaves right now. Yes.
So
I'm watering them once a week.
So this is what I was going to ask. So you said you can hand water every day. Could you do like my setup where I literally have a water hose and I go quick connect it to those sprinklers and it waters my garden? Is that technically hand watering because it's not a hard line irrigation system?
Drip irrigation, we favor drip irrigation more, obviously.
Yeah.
But we really don't want everybody running it all the time because it's easy to forget about it. Yeah, and I am also guilty of watering with my soaker hose all night long once. You know what I mean? Like it just happens. Even if you set an alarm, sometimes you'll be in the middle of something else. You'll cancel the alarm. You'll go get off doing something and then you'll forget. And so it's better to hand water and then just stick to your day. But at a certain point, I'm like,
yeah. I totally agree. Hand watering is way better than the irrigation system. Like if I had the time, like and even today at lunch, I came home and I watered half my garden. I watered half of it at lunch and I watered the other half by hand rather than running the quick connects. And because sometimes I just like to be like double check like how much water every plant's getting. Sometimes some plants need different watering requirements, you know. But what was your question, Phil? Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Ola pots. We've talked about this before?
Oya.
I don't think we have.
Like the Oya.
It's
Oya
Spanish.
pots.
Oya.
Sorry, it had the A letter in it, not the L. And what's your feedback on those? Do they not? They don't stand the heat? They still dry out?
They do actually. And
Okay.
I just saw she was talking about adding shade cloth. I have shade cloth up everywhere. I do. I really literally do. My backyard just faces west, and it's just being beaten by the sun, even through shade cloth. I do have Oyas, but I use them in areas that are on the perimeter of my yard that also get part shade, because any of my garden beds, especially my raised ones that are in direct sun, even with mulch, and I've done this like for several different years now, adding in compost and all of the things, really don't want to hold the water because they're just being baked from the outside, and then it's just evaporating in the afternoon sun. I have to be honest, my microclimate is pretty brutal.
Oyas are a cool concept, and they are ancient. Like the Pueblo people, like really were into them. It's a cool concept. Oyas can be very expensive. Terracotta in general is very expensive. So it's a cool concept. If you had one small bed of like gardening, that would be cool. I would need a shitload of Oyas in my house. Like, I mean, I would need a bunch of Oyas, and it takes up like space that another plant would take up too. Like it takes up a lot of space in your bed too.
That's true.
So,
and you really need to like water your garden bed in really well, and then fill your Oya. And then it's almost extending the time between your need to water. Is the best, because the way it works is the pressure in the soil, the water pressure in the soil pulls water out through the terracotta of the Oya into the garden beds, and depending on the size of your Oya, it'll have a circumference around it that can like water those things. So if you're trying to use an Oya,
it's like 50% of the circumference.
But having that weight and pressure of the water itself in your bed helps pull the moisture out of the pot at the same time.
And as the soil works as the sponge, right? So as the soil dries, it pulls water out, it seeps out. It's really neat. And Native Americans had, they used it in their gardens to help keep them watered. It's really cool. First irrigation, and if you do it correctly, great. Still got to stay on top of it.
Yes. Well, so there's another product out there. There's another product out there that they sent me some samples, and they're pretty cool. They're called root quenchers. They're basically these little pipes that you bury in the ground, and then your irrigation line goes into it, and it root waters when it waters rather than going to the top. It just literally, it's called a root quencher. Look it up. It's a cool concept. It's just deep root watering. And they make different sizes, adjustable lengths for like deeper taproot trees. It's a really cool concept. They sent me a bunch of samples, and if I'm being honest, I don't have that much stuff like in the ground where it's really feasible for me. But I have some. If I'd have known, I'd have sent y'all home with some. I got some in my house. I do. They sent me some of their trial. Like they're still working out all the kinks and everything. But look up root quencher. It's pretty cool. I wanted to get to before we I don't know how much time has passed already. We're already 15 minutes in. I want to kind of get into this weekend and recap the weekend. Somewhere that doesn't have a watering restriction is Galveston, Texas, where we went and did a tour with my friend Anita. What did y'all think of Moody Gardens Galveston?
Oh my God, I loved it.
It was freaking amazing. It was like, so I grew up Baltimore Aquarium. Shout out to you guys. I've been a member since I was a kid, my family. They have a beautiful rainforest section. Take the Baltimore Aquarium rainforest section and then pentuple it. And that is Moody Gardens. And that was too cool. It reminds me a lot of like Phipps Conservatory in Pittsburgh, but imagine being taller and full of animals and birds and fish, and he's like, oh my gosh, is this really real life? Yeah. It was like a beautiful, its own little beautiful biome right in Galveston, and I couldn't get over it, seeing the different types of fungus they had in there, like including the Bodhi tree, which is really cool.
The cannonball tree too.
And the cannonball tree.
It was so cool.
Yeah, it was such a blast getting to take y'all there, because I remember the first time I went, I think we went like as kids, for like field trips when we were young, but I don't think I appreciated how awesome it was. And especially getting the tour with Anita, she really goes into the history. Like she's been there for 35 years. That pyramid is like from 1993. She saw it from nothing to what it is now. Like, how crazy is that?
So crazy.
That's
You know,
cool.
I am so frustrated because I meant to climb the stairs today and find this picture of me as a teenager standing in that in the glass pyramid, and I think it was like 1996 or something. And it's when they had free flight butterflies in there. So I'm gonna have to send that to you guys later. We'll like put it on the the podcast page so you can see it. But it's a really goofy picture of me. I don't care. It's really cool. And Danita, like, what I love about her is that she's been there for that long, but she's so passionate about showing you everything. And we could have talked to her forever.
It's the mark of a true gardener, isn't it? When they're like, welcome to my gardening space.
And she has
we're going to go over every single plant. And I'm in depth, and we're all like, let's do it and go. Yes. And it was just like we had to do that. But she had the history of that whole place, like talking about which hurricane was that flooded everything by 6 feet.
Yeah.
And then remediating that, and then talking about like how long trees, and like this one's 100 feet tall, so it has to go this palm tree. We're like, what?
Yeah, because like, is it the pyramid is 100 feet tall? Is that what it is?
Yes.
It's something like that. It's incredibly tall.
Dude.
Oh man.
I thought it was
it doesn't get old. It doesn't get old. It never, because that's my third time there, and it's cool every time, especially like because it's its own like living ecosystem with all the animals and stuff running around. They introduce different animals sometimes. They move things around, so like we got to experience, the bats. Like I know Phil and Des, you were specifically very intrigued by the bats. Phil was in love with that little monkey. Phil was in love with that.
That dude was so cute.
Because he was like, he could have been Yoda, and he just had this old face, like, oh, I'm 700 years old. And if someone said that, I would have said, I believe him. And,
plus he had
like,
the zoomies.
Oh, the zoomies, and that guy too. Oh my gosh.
There was like
the zoomies.
Oh, yeah.
He was just there, and he was. They were like, he just ate. He's having a sugar spike, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh,
I like how whenever we asked what the names of the animals were, they wouldn't tell us.
I was taken aback. I was like, who do you think I am? Am I just going to go scream their names from the mountaintops? Tell everybody?
Yes. You wouldn't know. You like,
I would have.
You'd be like, Timothy, come here. I got a peanut.
Timothy, sit on my... Come on, let's go, Timothy. We're going to Chick-fil-A.
That's so funny.
And I don't even remember the Komodo dragon last time. Like I don't even remember seeing it. Dude, that was so. And the zookeeper was there. Yeah, and the zookeeper was there where she was telling us about how big they get and how you don't really keep the male and females together and all kinds of stuff. And
and he gets laser spa treatments. Remember?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, and then obviously the otters too. Those Amazonian otters, because they were gigantic and they were cute, but they were like magnificent. It's like the penguins too, like they were perfectly built for swimming. And you're like, oh, I am so bad at swimming. I thought I was good at swimming, and these are so amazing when they move effortlessly through the water. And you're like, holy cow.
So cool.
Man.
I tell you what, though, we walked through that aquarium and Des made me laugh out loud because she's like, Long John Silver's, and I was like, oh, it's exactly what it smells like.
It smelled. So I will say, like, I was a big fan of the rainforest. I wasn't the biggest fan of the aquarium. For me, I don't like seeing like I know we talked about like probably most marine life you see like at SeaWorld and some places. They probably rehabilitated animals that are like been hurt in the wild. I mean, you work for like the marine area, so like stuff gets hit by boats and like get caught in nets all the time, and they need programs like that to keep stuff going. So I know that's the case for most stuff. I don't know. I just hate seeing certain animals like that in captivity, just because like it's like, man, a seal should be like free. Like it seemed like such a small tank for that many seals.
Right. It's very tough. And like, I know I specifically from the New England aquarium, I've seen it, the Virginia Beach aquarium, and it's I nerd out with aquarium marine science stuff, but like in the Baltimore Aquarium, they do take in injured sea life.
Yes.
And it's tough. Like it's reintroduction programs are tough. I know Monterey Bay is really good at it for a lot of species, but I know that it's tough in a lot of other locations. But especially if they're like blind in one eye, they're not going to do so great in the real world. But I agree with you. It's like, what's the trade-off between, you know, educating the general public on our world and our sea life and what is at risk out there from pollution and sources like that versus like making sure that they get to do it and then be free and like keep the animals in their habitat if they're healthy type of thing too.
I mean, I mean, I don't think a penguin cares. I don't think something like a penguin. I don't think they're
Have you seen Happy Feet? He was like, "Get me out of here."
Dude, I don't
deep dive and swim far, but they're very social, but they range.
I don't think they're super intelligent. I don't think most birds are.
They co-parent.
I'm going to tell Tweety B you said that.
I don't think most birds are super intelligent. I don't think
that's not true, Dustin, because they can problem solve puzzles with a fraction of the brain synapses. And
I think penguins, after some of the videos I've seen, I think the penguins are happy they're not being ripped apart by sea lions and leopard seals and stuff.
Leopard seals are pretty vicious.
Yes, I saw some videos, man, on Follow Nature is Metal. That will ruin it'll ruin your day sometimes. But like a sea lion, it makes me there was a lot of seals in that one tank. But like the birds, I don't think the birds or the bats care. You know, they're probably well fed and taken care of, you know, for the most part. But the seals made me sad. The seals made me a little sad. So I would say if you go to Moody Gardens, it's a very nice place. I'm sure they take really good care of their animals. But if you wanted to skip the aquarium, you can skip the aquarium and just go to the rainforest. That would be me.
It's breathtaking.
Or go to the aquarium first, and because going to the rainforest after, or going to the aquarium after rainforest is kind of like high, and then a little bit. Go to the aquarium and then the rainforest if you're going to do it. I would say, because I think the rainforest is really nice.
The insect section, make sure you go with Des because she'll put perspective and tell you all about these things that I had no idea. The soldier, what were those ants? Not the soldier. What were those beetles called? That were like they're predatory beetles.
Like the rhino ones with the horns and stuff.
No, it was like dang, I'm blanking.
Oh, I was telling him about assassin bugs.
What's assassin bugs?
The assassin bugs. They had
the assassin bugs. That's what it is. Yeah, we talked about the assassin bugs.
There were some really big ones and some really little ones, and I was telling them about the difference between the nymphs and the adults, and about how assassin bugs are technically beneficial. There's a difference between an assassin bug and a leaf-footed bug, although they look kind of similar. And so it's important to kind of know the difference when you're like working with integrated pest management in your garden. And so that's what I was telling Phil about. But thanks. I'm glad you thought that was fun. I was nerding out.
Did.
Yeah.
I was like, how cool, a bug. And I was going to walk on. She's like, no, check this out. And I was like, there's got to be something cool. There's a huge exhibit for them.
This reminds me that I also told you a cool fact about ferns. But then I learned something even further when I went to the Houston Museum of Natural Science. About how, like, I told you that ferns were one of the first ones to develop spores on the undersides of their leaves in order to reproduce.
Like braille. It's like braille on the underside of the leaf. It's really cool. And I didn't realize it was spores.
And I was like really thinking that they were one of the first plants, and sure they were, but really it's algae, right? That was, and then finally the algae moves on land, and then we have mosses and things like that. And then when we get into the carbon age,
Carboniferous period.
Yes, that's when the ferns developed, and they managed to get the spores so that way they could reproduce. Cool stuff.
The documentary on Netflix, like After Earth or whatever, that it shows like every couple 100,000 years all the like destruction of the entire world and how the plants came from the ocean from algae. It's narrated by Morgan Freeman. It'll ruin your night because it's so depressing every time the world is just destroyed and has to start over fresh. And it's like, oh, this happens all the time. Like, this is terrifying.
I learned it in my senior year of college in paleobiology, but my professor was very like, yes, there's like a mini extinction every 60,000 years. And then, but generally not big ones like the Permian Triassic boundary. That's when 90% of life got eliminated on Earth. That's right before the dinosaurs started. Really cool dinosaur book. They talk about protosaurs, so the evolution into the dinosaur. They have these subspecies. Pretty cool. Side tangent. We'll circle back.
You literally can't take any of us nerds anywhere, because we've got Phil for the dinosaurs, we've got me for the bugs, we've got Dustin for the plants, and all of us the plants.
I'm not an expert in anything, and we will talk about that on the surveys. Feedback from FigToberfest.
I saw that comment. What is that guy drinking the Haterade?
Just save it. Save it for later. Save it for later. Save it for later.
I've got something about ginkgo, by the way.
Yeah, no, I think you had told me something about ginkgo. Tell her.
Yeah, so you have to be careful which variety of ginkgo you get. Well, which sex of ginkgo you get, because I believe the female is smelly. So you want a male, or the male is smelly.
Because my dad wanted a female ginkgo, and we got a male growing up, and it ruined our driveway. And
it smells bad. So it's important to get the right.
Yes.
The right sex.
Oh my goodness. Well, we went to the rainforest, Moody Gardens, everything. We got to go behind and check out the greenhouse and everything. That was really awesome. Des was with us all day Friday. We came back, and you went and had dinner with your husband, and then y'all went to the museum and everything next day, right?
Oh yeah, and the Cockerel Butterfly Center and the zoo. And we also saw NASA this weekend. But
nice.
The Cockerel Butterfly Center was also insanely cool. But
Is that in Houston?
Yes. It's actually, so it's attached to the Museum of Natural Science. And so if you go, dude, they have a permanent dinosaur. A permanent dinosaur exhibit. You have to go, because there's so many dinosaurs that have been discovered in Texas. Like, we're known for it. Like, you can go out.
We're in like the golden age of fossil discovery because of our technology nowadays. We can just do like the sound pulses in and like.
But you know what? There's been a lot of criticism, especially like back in the gold rush of like dinosaur hunting, like for fossils and stuff, that a lot of them were just making up, different combinations. Have you heard the stories about that, Phil? Like, whenever they're like hunting for dinosaur bones, they would just like say they found a new dinosaur species, and they would just mix a bunch of bones together and like claim, it was a brand new species like that.
One of the earliest species, I'm going to factoid this one, because one of the earliest species that was discovered, and fossils led into geology as a science because it defined the law of superposition, which means anything buried on top of another was technically younger in a geologic timescale that's in a deposit. But then they find fossils, and that's how they find extinction events, like your KT boundaries and things like that. They found iguanodon. That's a very basic early name, probably named by like the British, right? Sorry if any Brits are out there, but
the British.
The British to come up with most creative names.
Call it iguanodon. It looks like a big old lizard.
And so they put iguanodon together in this bizarre fashion, only to dismantle it completely when they had like ecologists and people be like, listen, here's the anatomy of your fossils. It's put together correctly. And then, there's always confusion, like talked about like Brontosaurus for the longest time as a sauropod having the wrong head on the wrong body. And it ended up being like, well, it was the body of an apatosaurus and then the head of a camarasaurus. I'm losing you guys because I don't think you guys know what those dinosaurs are, but they're both sauropods.
We need visual aids. Where's Craig? Where's our producer Craig? We need visual aids.
I need you to look up the sauropods from the Jurassic. I need you to look up Apatosaurus and Brontosaurus and Camarasaurus, and we can figure it out there. But
man, we're gonna have to have a whole dinosaur episode. But I want to circle back.
That'll be different podcast.
Get a slide deck. We need a slide deck.
I need to circle back though, because yes, go and see the dinosaurs. And if you look on my Instagram page, I also found a lot of fossilized leaves and things and plants. So I posted them there, but they even had even more of them that I did not post. And then I was going to say that the Cockerell Butterfly Center, which is attached, has a whole entomology walk when you first go in that has all kinds of different insects that are pinned that you can go and look at. You can learn about the inner workings of a grasshopper, and they have drawers full of butterflies you can pull out to like see them all in there. And then they have them all up in big giant glass displays. And then you can go into their rainforest, which has a big waterfall and butterflies flapping around everywhere. And I am talking about blue morphose butterflies.
Do you look at your husband and be like, I'm going to stay here forever now. You can go when you want.
He was actually hurrying me out of there.
Yeah.
He was like, we have to go. I want to see the dinosaurs. And
he's like, I'm ready to eat. I'm ready to eat already.
No,
dinosaurs are great.
We went straight to the dinosaurs.
In the Museum of Natural History in New York City, they have one of the first fossils that they uncovered of dinosaur skin that was preserved. And so you can go and you look at it because it was caught in a tar pit and then fossilized. And so you have a perfect imprint of what their skin was like. And it resembled a lot of like chicken skin, like the skin on their legs. So
it's the best part.
Yeah, I love it.
There's actually a
giant pterodactyls.
There's actually a place down here, like where we were at in Angleton. There's a diner. There's a diner. I've never been there. I've never actually been there. And they have, but they have like footsteps from like dinosaurs. Like,
oh, they do. Oh, cool.
We could have gone.
Oh,
listen. For everyone listening, we had a jam-packed week, and I was in flux the whole time, and I wanted to be in flux the whole time.
Okay, for everybody's reference, okay. So, Phil, what time did you leave? What time did your flight originally leave Raleigh?
10:30.
10:30 your time. So, walk everybody through your day, how your day went getting to Texas.
I should have filmed it because it would have. So
I can't believe you didn't vlog the whole weekend, dude. Oh my god.
I was audacious, and I thought that my 150-mile charge on my electric vehicle could make it the 148 miles to Raleigh, and it didn't.
Clint's Reptiles. Yeah.
Oh, Clint's Reptiles, nice. And so I went to find a charger with 1% left, only to find out that there was no charger at that location. To get back on the highway, I conserved as much energy as I could, going like 50 miles an hour on a 70.
Turn off the AC.
I'm like, turn off the AC, calling Grace to talk me through it. And then I was like, I got this, babe. I need you to tell me I got this. She was like, you got this. I was like, yeah, you just got to keep saying it. And then we got to the Hampton Inn Suites in Benson, North Carolina, where they had a terminal charger because I didn't have the adapter for my Tesla supercharger for my plug-in on my Nissan Leaf. And I had to park it there 40 minutes from the Raleigh airport, being like, well, this is weird. It's going to be a fun story. And I turned on my Uber, and there was no one around at all. And of course there wouldn't be, except for one person that came on, popped on 15 minutes later. I was ready to walk to Enterprise Rent-A-Car 5 miles down the road or something. And she came in 15 minutes and scooped me up. I got in, went through crowded baggage security, and walked right into my boarding group when I got to the gate. Just walked right on.
Lucky.
Only to get to Dallas and have a 6-hour delay, which they wouldn't tell us why it was delayed. And
Frontier Airlines. Shout out to Frontier Airlines.
They tried to. They were very. The people at the desk weren't as helpful. The people on Instagram were very helpful. So when I said, "Please help me," I'm a human asking another human for advice, and they eventually were like, "We got you. This is frustrating." And I was like, "Thank you. I just need someone to say that with me." And then they were like, "It's got fog in San Diego," and I was like, "Fog in San Diego. I get it now. It happens." But I just didn't want to get bumped off, because what happens if a pilot times out, then you have 2 hours with the crew, and that usually happens simultaneously. And I just didn't want everything to time out a 3-hour drive from Destin's house. And I just wanted perspective in case it was. I didn't want to be in airport purgatory. Like I needed perspective. And I think that's fair for airlines to give perspective.
Yeah.
Because he probably would have kept me as a client. But what are you going to do? My flight came. They were very nice about it. It wasn't a crowded flight. And Destin was easily one of the best hosts I've ever had in my life. So shout out to Destin. He was there to pick me up.
Great.
Dude,
You're a great host, man.
Dude,
you
are.
You and Ashley, shout out to your wife too.
Yeah, so Phil was flying. I thought, okay, first of all, if anybody from Houston knows, you never fly into Bush Intercontinental, especially when you live on the south side of Houston. So the first thing I told Phil, I go, fly into Hobby. Do not fly into Intercontinental.
I couldn't get a flight there.
but your wife was able to the next day.
No, so it turns out she was like, oh, I booked it here. And then she goes, actually, it's not. It's at Bush. And I was like, okay. Oh, and it wasn't direct. It took me to Charlotte. So.
Oh man.
Oh,
well, so
I had a delay in Charlotte, and I almost missed my flight had I not run the entire airport from end of A to the end of E to make my flight. And they're like final boarding call, and they squeaked in there.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
an athlete.
Well,
you are an athlete.
So Phil was supposed to get into Intercontinental north side of Houston at 5 o'clock. And so I was like, okay, I'm taking off at 2. I'm gonna go home, water the garden, and then I'm gonna leave like at 3 o'clock, 3:30, and I'll wait in the gas station parking lot because I already know after I pick Phil up at 5, we're gonna sit in traffic for like 2 hours getting back to my house. I live south of Pearland, and so I'm out there watering the garden. All of a sudden, I get a text from Phil and I said, "Hey, man, my flight got delayed like 2 or 3. Like, what was the first time? Like 3 hours, something like that."
Yeah, they kept. It was like it was the huge where it's like delayed an hour. And I was like, uh oh.
Yeah, I'm literally watering the garden, and every so often it's just like, hey, it's gonna be another hour, and like finally it was like, hey, my flight's gonna get in at like 7 o'clock. Was it? No, you left Dallas at 7.
I left at 7:40.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And so, meanwhile, I was texting the whole time. Remember, I was like, "Has the eagle landed yet?"
We're so excited, and like anyone listening, like when we all met up, it was like this. It was like we just continued on, but we were just we had to like stare at each other, just took each other in, like, hey, whoa, we're in each other's like auras now, and it was cool.
Des was eating ding dang noodles with her husband, and I was picking up
Dan noodles.
Dan noodles. I like my way better. I've
never had ding dang noodles.
But I picked Phil up, and we got back. And like we just chit chatted the whole time. Didn't even have the music on. We're just talking the whole time. Go back to the house. I think we stayed up to like 10 or 11 o'clock that night.
We stayed up till 1.
Did we really? Okay.
We had a few frothy Coors lattes.
Yes. Some of the Colorado Kool-Aids. Yeah, and so we woke up the next morning and we had Figgy and Des showed up, and we went live on Facebook and Instagram, YouTube, and everything.
You were already live when I got there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
and I just popped right in there and hopped on.
Yeah.
Like, hey, everybody.
It was great. Yeah,
it was so much fun. We went outside and checked out the garden. And then we
back up. When I landed, we cracked open some brewskis and we immediately went into the garden at night, and we just walked around. He showed me everything.
But not in the truck on the way home though. Not on the truck on the way home. When we got to the house.
Oh no! When we got home.
You said right when we landed.
Okay, back up. And then fast forward to Dustin's house, and we were just like pumped up. Like I was vibrating, and we were all like, let's go check out the garden. Ashley's like, all right, peace. And then
until in the morning.
Yeah. And then we walked around at night, and I was like, you just did the gardener thing. Come see all of my plants. And that's what we did. And I was like, of course. And then in the morning, Des came, and we got to do it again.
Yeah. It was so fun.
Kimberly Mayer, who helped us organize the FigToberfest, she said the restaurant is in Lake Jackson, so it's literally down there where FigToberfest is, and it's called Texas Comfort Cuisine Asiel's Restaurant, ASIEL's Restaurant, and that's where the dinosaur fossils are. The mammoth.
That's too cool.
It's a fossilized mammoth print. That's what it is. It's in the ground.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Dang it.
But Friday morning we drove to Moody Gardens. We stopped and got Phil his first ever kolache. And we went and had Phil. By the way, Phil is an athlete.
Put some food away.
He could be a professional eating athlete. By the
He
way.
put some food away.
I'm like, dude, this dude's got like Phil. I mean, I'm a chubbier dude than you by far, but like you probably eat 2 to 3 times of what I eat in a day. Like you saw me, like how much I eat. Like
look,
you put
blushing.
you have great metabolism. You got good genes, dude. You got good genes.
I got good genes. I mean, let's see. I played 3 sports in high school. So I was tri-varsity, and then I would ski on Sundays in the winter. And then in college, we had all our workout. Like I was burning like 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day. But I also ate more than others too. And I just, it's the Italian side. I can just eat food. And like sometimes when I surf, I'll paddle like a mile, if I'm out there for a good 2 hours. But like, but
that's gonna burn a lot of calories, I'm sure. Yeah.
It
was just funny because after Moody Gardens, we stopped and got barbecue, and Phil just housed some barbecue. Like
he's like brisket plate.
Yeah.
I have 1 small cow, and then the condiments that come with it. And you guys watch me eat, and like exactly like when I was in high school, my dad would be like, "All right, before you go on this date, Phil, eat this sandwich so you don't gross out your date on how much you eat."
Oh my goodness. I love it. I mean, I knew Phil is a foodie, and I knew he was the second he said the word umami. I was like, oh, I'm telling Phil all about all the food that I ate. I ate that so much.
I saw your dim sum trays too. Like I couldn't. It looked so good.
I think we had Chinese, and maybe we had.
And Houston has a good Chinatown too.
We didn't make it over there, but
Houston's yes.
My husband really wanted to have Creole food. That's the one restaurant he wanted to go to, and we didn't make it there, which he didn't let me live down. But that's fine.
Well, y'all definitely saw how white bread vanilla I am, because like I didn't even have a spice. I didn't even have a jalapeno kolache. I just
a jalapeno. A jalapeno kolache.
No, he really didn't.
I don't do spicy stuff. Like garlic, salt, and pepper. I'm good. But I was gonna say we were gonna go by Jorge's, but I screwed up and forgot to call them. We did go by Jimbo's and check them out. And then
tons of bromeliads there.
Oh, it was so cool.
The most beautiful bromeliads.
Y'all saw my interaction. I can't leave a nursery without getting something usually. Like it's.
I mean,
well, he saw a desert rose, and we all know that Destin has a few desert roses, and.
And this one was a special one.
He's like, but it had a seed pod, and it was grafted. It had 2 different ones. He found what many would call a unicorn, and it came home with him.
Yeah.
And then his wife was like, "Oh, another desert rose."
The skull pot.
A skull pot. That's right.
Yeah. If I had it handy, I would show it to you guys, but I do not.
Just in time for Halloween.
Yeah. I've got a frog skeleton just hanging out behind me. It's just been here this whole time.
Like, what? Yeah. I'm like looking over your shoulder.
Yeah. Like a real one?
Yeah. My mom, she's a science teacher. She gave it to me. Little frog skeleton.
So
I went to
Des did go.
Yes. I had been before, but I was a kid, and we wanted to go to the training area, but we didn't quite make it there to the training pools because they are flipping that for, I believe, for the Artemis flight, because it's going to be such a special return trip to the moon that they're landing on a completely different area of the moon, which is closer to the southern pole. So they're trying to make the pool look more like the southern pole of the moon.
That is, if you believe we went in the first place.
Okay. Don't act like that.
There are certain trains of thought,
I do not prescribe to those trains of thought. We went there.
We're not gonna veer down that road on this episode. But who did we see on the way back on the way back to my house? Who do we see on the way back?
We went to see
the man himself.
Farmer Froberg and Phil took off on his electric bike like he had never not ridden one before. He literally was just like, all right, see you later. And Farmer Froberg was like, go down here, follow this dirt road. Go
oh my gosh.
trees.
As soon as he was
You'll
like,
be in the fig orchard, go past this house, come back.
I was not planning on taking y'all by there because we were so short on time. But like it just worked out perfectly for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It was-
I love, and this crew is really great for this. And I say it with my really close friends. They're my say yes friends. So you're like, hey, you want to do this? And they say yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. And because everything's figure outable, this crew is great. And so you guys saw me firsthand say yes to Froberg being like, yeah, it's a sick bike. You want to try it? And I was like, yes. And then I was like, in my head, I was like, oh crap, what are you doing, Phil? I was like, I've driven a Vespa. I'll figure it out. And then
dude, that bike can get it, man. That bike can get
thing
it.
bigger.
Zoomed. Very, very functional, like very ergonomic. And he's like, and as soon as he was like, all right, I just want to see if you could ride it or not. When I came back, he's like, go down this dirt road. When you see the shed, there's my fig orchard. And I said, did you say fig orchard? And I was like, peace. And then I took off.
Well,
it was great. And
it
Froberg
was
was
so-
so nice to step away from his strawberry planting. Oh, sorry, Dustin, go.
No, I was gonna say, as you took off towards the fig orchard, we're sitting there and we're watching you just haul ass down this dirt road. And like, and dude, and Froberg's just standing like this. He's like,
I probably should have told
I
him.
probably should have told him it's two-wheel drive. Like that it's, I probably should have told him it's two-wheel drive on that soft rock road. And I look over and I'm like, yeah, probably.
Yeah, we were both like,
because we saw the torque. We saw the torque like you were.
Yeah,
getting on
I
that
felt
bike.
it. I felt
It's
it, and I was like, oh, and that's why I veered off the path to grab the grass so I could get a little turn out of it.
Yeah, because you were getting it.
We also had a whole sidebar of like, what if Phil accidentally gets like a snake like wrapped up in his wheels or something like that? We were just literally like,
Just would have been a great plot twist.
I think we were probably just all standing there like we were talking, but we were also like, man, Phil should be coming back any minute.
I think we were exhausted too. I was so tired. I was so
I'm
tired.
glad you said that because I was like, I'm tired. These guys must be tired. I'm very tired.
I was so tired.
Well, it's like one of those, like, you don't, especially because you got in late and you weren't going to stay the night Saturday night. So it's like, I got to get as much done as I possibly can with Phil while he's here. Get my fill of Phil while he's here. So, Des can come see me anytime. She just chooses not to. No, you don't. You're not interrupting me.
I was going to say,
I will be in Austin next year now. I found that out.
You better come visit me anyway. Okay.
Yes.
So I was going to say another thing we got to do at Farmer Froberg's that I thought was really cool was that I was like, wow, look at that huge oak tree. And then he told us this amazing story about all these oak trees and about how the biggest one on their farm is not as old as anybody else thinks. And it's just been mowed over so many times. And then finally they were just like, we'll just let it grow.
Yeah.
And it's huge. And
only to find out like it was huge because they were like fertilizing it because it was next to all the
farmland. Yeah.
Just
super neat. Neat.
Well, we got back to the house, and Des had I did all the plants make the trip? Are they all going to die because of your? You better hand water them the plants I gave you, okay?
They're doing great.
You can so the problem with me giving plants away to people is that I water my plants every day. So like, I should have said this in advance, but like, you're probably, if you don't water them every day, you're going to kill them probably.
No, I do because they're right by the water hose right now. Don't worry. They're getting taken care of every morning.
Don't sweat, Boba Fett.
I don't
You got to watch Ted Lasso. That doesn't make sense unless you watch Ted Lasso.
I love it. Yeah.
I wouldn't give anything away if I wasn't willing to let it die. You know what I mean? So like, it is what it is.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're putting so much faith in me right now.
But you brought up a really good point that I can't wait to talk about FigToberfest with, because I got to meet a bunch of people that have my fig trees and like have gotten cuttings from me, and they get to show me the pictures of the fig tree now. And I'm like, it made me so happy to connect with other fig growers that like I was able to get them the fig trees they were looking for, and then to see those trees just like growing vibrantly. So shout out to all like everyone I met at FigToberfest because that was so cool.
I
to
didn't
see other
realize
people growing stuff.
I didn't realize how big Phil's following was with the Houston Fig Exchange. Like he's got some fans. Like it was so funny. It was like, yeah, they're like, oh yeah, FigToberfest was great. It was really nice to meet Phil. And it's like that's like half the comments is like, man, I should have been friendly or something. we will get to the suggestions and the recommendations and the unconstructive criticism here in a little bit. But so the next morning was FigToberfest. Des was not there. That's fine.
No,
she went on which thank you so much.
To the zoo.
Thank you so much for Jeremy for letting us have her for an entire day. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Jeremy, that was really nice of you.
I should have just brought him. He would have been.
Oh, yeah. And so we went and got breakfast tacos that morning, and we went to the event space, and we got there, and it was like the sun was coming up right behind the event, and it was right on the water, and like
beautiful.
It was like a religious like thing, like it was like the sun was rising. It was just so beautiful. The whole romantic event space. It was nice. Well, it wasn't just me and Phil. I mean, it wasn't romantic. Like there's other people there. But yeah, no, it was so nice. We got everything set up, and it was kind of a whirlwind. Like it seemed like time.
It was.
Flew
That's
by,
the best way to explain it, because I remember I had left and I was like, "Oh, Destin." He's like, "Don't worry about it. I'm in the same boat." Like it was just like the flow of the event took over, and it took off without it. Like just like that, like the propagation table was just as soon as 8 or 9 hit. Like I had that. Did you see that clip I posted today of you, Destin, like coaching through everybody? And it was just like people jumped on it, and
it was a swarm.
That set the tone for the entire event.
That's so cool.
There was probably 50 people who got all like. The Fig Hunter, who, like I said, he had bought flights and everything, couldn't make it. But he went ahead and he overnighted us a bunch of cuttings, which is really awesome. He probably sent us about 200 cuttings, wouldn't you say, Phil? Probably like.
So shout out to the Burke family.
Yes, it was 4 different varieties, I believe. And man, I probably should have kept a better eye on how many cuttings people were taking, because people did take like more than one each, And then my thought process was like first come, first serve with that. Because I would rather them all go to a good home than we'd be left over with like a ton of them. You know what I mean? But we did have a couple people show up later on that wanted cuttings, and we were out. So I do apologize. That's one of the comments. I felt really bad about that. So next year we will make a note that we definitely want to have some like reserve cuttings. Christine.
Oh, Christine.
You're gone when I got there. I'm sorry. Phil will make it up to you though.
You got it. I should have plenty this winter.
Put it on my tab, Phil. No, I'll
the Fig tab.
I'll start carrying some fig cuttings around with me, and there were people there. It was a great time. All the speakers we had. Steven Yannick, Steven Brugerhoff he's the ag extension agent for Brazos County. Steven Yannick is like the horticulture expert for like the entire like district, like 3 or 4 different counties or whatever. And then we had, who was it? Tim, God, I forget his name. He was the first speaker. Was it Tim Hall? I forget what his name was off the top of my head. He had to leave because he didn't stick around for the panel, but he did a really good job. And Phil ended it. I didn't give a talk. I felt with all the expertise around, and when you're talking about figs, I don't know if it's best to have as many people as even we did this time talking, just because there is so much overlap. Some people had commented saying there was a lot of overlap between talks, and I think a lot of that had to do with like the questions people were asking in the middle and after the talk as well. So maybe we'll do a better job of that next year, of like kind of organizing how we do that. But I mean, overall, we gave a ton of plants away. I brought 12 of my own fig trees. We had 24 fig trees donated from Doers over there in Florida. So shout out to Doers. Thoughts and prayers. They're getting hit hard with this hurricane right now. They're over.
I've been watching it all day.
But
My goal with that hurricane is it is fast moving. So even if it's going to be torrential, and I'm seeing you guys sent me that link about the live weather that was going on with the tornadoes spinning off of it.
Oh, the tornadoes!
And they were spinning off in Brevard County. Like that's the Atlantic Ocean side. That's not even. So I'm hoping the storm moves fast.
120 tornadoes by the time right before I got on here because I've been watching it all day. Storm surge was just coming in. Between
North Carolina and this, it's a rough hurricane season.
Let's finish the FigToberfest. No, we're all squirrels and we all get distracted. Yes. I'm mad about it too. So let me finish this though. So yeah, we had a bunch of sponsors who donated stuff. Heirloom Soils donated a ton of soil to the meetup to do the propagations. They sent us some to give away as well. Like I said, smart pots. Everybody was super excited about the smart pots. If I'm being honest, I didn't like the hats. I didn't think the hats were very cool. But I had more people messaging me, asking me where they got the smart pot hats than anything else. So people want to know. I'm going to have to get on the horn with them and see where they got the hats from because I didn't realize they're made with the smart pot material. The hat is. And so I didn't know how excited people were going to be for those. But the bags are awesome. Man, the fig brew, we had fig brew to hand out, and I think we had fig brew Friday morning at the house too. It was so nice.
It was
delicious.
Very good.
And then, shout out to Kimberly Mayer and all the Missouri County Master Gardeners too. The Master Gardeners were there, and they were so gracious to be there helping to set up and tear stuff down. I mean, you saw it, Phil. They teared down everything so quick; they were gone. It was
up and down with I couldn't believe it. I remember turning around and being like, where did everything go? Like, just like that, And
we are efficient.
I don't know how they had the energy. Dedicated. Yes. I don't know how they had the energy to do it so quick, but they were in and out. So we gave a bunch of stuff away, a bunch of giveaway stuff, raffle stuff. Man, it was just a great time. And I just thank you to everybody for being there. But Kimberly Mayer, we could not have done this without you. You definitely steered the ship on this. And
Kimberly.
We're actually going to go, I'll be with her. I forgot the date, but we're going to go to the city of Angleton city council meeting, and give a certificate of appreciation to the Parks and Rec officers that hooked us up with that. So that's going to be nice. So
yeah,
it's really awesome. But at the end of the presentation, Kimberly had a QR code for everybody to scan, and it was, hey, give us some feedback on the event. And most of it was pretty positive. Most people are, I think we had about 140, 150 people at the event, like over the entire thing. And, you're going to have a couple negative comments, statistically. So most of them are positive, but I just wanted to go over some of the recommendations people had. So the question was, what would you suggest to improve about the future program? One of we already talked about this one, handouts. So I know Phil thought we were going to have like a screen or something. I don't know that would have worked with it being as bright and shiny anyway.
Yeah.
And then I think we also did the phone thing is so nice because you got people looking down rather than looking up at the actual presenter. So some kind of handout or some kind of reference for people would like to take home, maybe it would be nice. Someone had recommended a PA system, like a better speaker system for next year, which, this is the only negative one. It says a real PA system, a projector, food trucks as advertised. I don't know. Did we advertise food trucks?
I can't remember, to be honest.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think there was enough people there to justify a food truck. Honestly,
we had donuts.
Yeah, we have donuts and free coffee and everything. And then the last comment he made, I say he because I know who made this comment. I 100% know who this was. More real experts. And then in parentheses, it says, Destin is not an expert.
Ouch.
I know. Hey, this is the ant guy. I know this is the guy. This is the Amdro guy. This is that guy. This is 100% that guy.
Rude.
I don't know who this guy is. Who's the guy?
He was the. I will put money on the fact that this is probably the guy that was asking Yannick and them about Amdro, putting Amdro in your garden beds, why they wouldn't give a definite answer. You know, he was the one. It's 100% that guy. But everything else is like, this was great. It was handled nicely. Great parking and accommodations. Excellent program. Would like more info on the fertilization. More Facebook event posts. I feel like I posted a lot, but next year I'll post more, obviously. Someone said closer to Houston would be nice. And I guess that's probably from Houston Fig Exchange. We're doing it with Missouri County, so we're gonna probably stick in Missouri County out in the country. So that's probably not going to happen. More cuttings. That was one. That's a common comment. More cuttings. This is the one I kind of touched on. Each speaker speak on just one facet of figs. Sometimes there was an overlap, and sometimes something got to differ, or someone said a different point or whatever.
Conflicting points. Got it.
Yeah, someone was saying twice a year for trading cuttings in the fall to trade small trees, which we did talk about that. We went smaller this year. We went smaller this year just to have like a proof of concept that this would work. And so now that we know that we can draw a crowd, we can get people into it, there is a taste for it. Next year we'll go a little bit bigger, and maybe we'll bring in vendors where people can sell trees.
Now that I know that we're going to have the turnout, I could bring a whole slew of different varieties of figs too.
Yeah, you'll load up the Nissan Leaf. You'll make it 40 miles at a time, and you'll bring.
Come hell or high water. I'll see you there when I get there.
This person asked for a timeline of speakers and events, so like a better outline of stuff like that. More vendors, offer cuttings for sale. We talked about that. Better shaded area. I mean, I don't think it was super hot. But I get what they're saying. There was places to sit in the shade if you wanted to sit in the shade.
I couldn't. The weather was actually really nice in the morning. Like I couldn't get over how.
It was a beautiful weekend.
The heat had burned off, which is great. But
right.
I think people were hungry.
More varieties of figs. I mean, we're going to do that, obviously. More backyard gardening classes for any plants, but particularly native plants. Well, this is FigToberfest, so we're going to focus on figs. Not to say that you can't like go around talking to other people about different stuff. Like we can have the Native Plant Society or whatever be there, but the main concept for the entire event is FigToberfest. I mean, it's figs. And so, sound of the PA system, propagation of other fruit trees. We already talked about that. We're just doing figs. An outline. Someone said, I didn't realize the event was outside. Wish I knew to bring a hat and sunscreen. I know it's hard, but taste tests of different fig types would be awesome. And we talked about that. I had some figs, probably not enough for everybody, but I had this bug that was in the ostiole. I usually grab my figs, I go put them in water. I'll usually, when I pick them off the tree, I blow into the ostiole, and if there's any bugs that typically come out. And usually like ants, that's probably about it. But this time, for some reason, I'm getting these little beetles that were in my fruit, and I don't know what kind of beetles they are. I still haven't done much research, and I don't feel comfortable giving that to people if that's the case. The weather was perfect, though. Disappointed by lack of good options in food truck. Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, first year doing it, we're just testing out, see how it works. The second talk was a bit long. Wish I could have broken up more for the setting. Was that Anthony? Was that Stephen Yannick, I guess, was the second one?
Yeah.
More options for food. And then the next question was, what was the most important or beneficial thing you learned from this activity? How to care for figs. The person who made the negative comment earlier said they didn't learn anything. None, really. None. They didn't learn anything. They already knew everything. They didn't learn anything. So don't come to events if you don't want to learn anything. That's probably the first thing right there. Let's see. Discussion of varieties. This was a weird comment. Texas figs are vegan, not fertilized by dying female wasps. That is the most incorrect question I've ever heard.
No, it's yeah, because all figs are still vegan because the enzymes have digested wasp before you even get to it. But yeah, the Texas figs are in fact not fertilized by the female wasp. So it's also, the second half's true.
Yeah. So planning for fertilizer, fig information relative to me, depth and breadth of the root system, getting more fig people involved, about different fig varieties, fertilization needs. I think we touched on the fertilization. I don't feel like that one is accurate because we talked about fertilization at the very end. You know,
the panelist discussion. Remember, Steve Yannick talked about that, about his like 6
it's not really necessary.
regiment.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really that necessary though. You know,
especially after they get established. But I'll use for my young potted figs. I usually use well-rounded stuff. But yes, that's right.
Let's see. Pruning and propagation info. They liked that. The Alma fig and the tolerance to fig rust. Everybody was really worried about fig rust. I don't worry about fig rust at all. Cultural practices, pathology, pruning not typically necessary. You know, a lot of good stuff. They really liked Stephen Yannick's presentation as well. Yeah. Very, very, very. It's mostly constructive criticism and stuff that we're already thinking about. You know, whenever we go into expanding this next year, it'll probably be a full day next year. We'll probably definitely get some local nurseries and fig enthusiasts into selling fig trees and selling cuttings, and fig swapping. You know, all that good stuff. We'll definitely get more food options. But like I said earlier, and I said this at the event, I was like, this was really a proof of concept to see that this would work. And we definitely see that there's an appetite to learn about figs and plenty of fig enthusiasts. So I think we're good to go even bigger and better next year.
Good.
What was your main takeaway? From that, Phil? Sorry.
Oh, I come from a critic world in the science community. Like, you don't get a paper back without a ton of red ink on it. Like, I've gotten with more red ink than black ink, and I was like, how is this happening? Even published papers get that. So, like, if you take the grand total of the comments that I saw there and the grand total of people that came, we kicked butt. And the best, like, for proof of concept, that was a wonderful event. The connections that we made with everybody was fantastic. And I think, like, it would be, if I look at some of the comments, because I pulled it up when you're talking about them and the demographics, and Kimberly could probably shed some light on the tone that people were probably putting these in at, is that, like, as a whole, people enjoyed themselves. I think people were just, like, caught off guard by maybe an outdoor setting, and they weren't used to that. And then looks like people got hungry. But the people that weren't impressed with the fig discussion was few and far between.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was all like people were a little hungry, and people wanted more cuttings. And I think because we had such a good turnout, now we know that if we bring 400 cuttings and 10 varieties of figs or 15 varieties of figs, that people will jump on it. Because I think for us is like, and this is the big thing I was concerned with you about, Dustin, was like, how intense do I scale the discussion? Do I come in at a 101 level, or do they want to see the 300 level, like even political jargon of what goes on in like the fig form world? So it's not something like that. And so I think it was a gauge of interest from our perspective too on what the audience wants. And even then, like the people that really wanted to know, like I remember when it was like, what's the best fig variety? And there's a lot of like, it depends based on your conditions and your personal preferences. But I think people want to hear about like those crazy varieties at that point, like the Coltodons and whatnot. So
for sure,
as a whole, and here's the glass half full guy over here. I think it was, I think so too. And we had fun.
Now, I know what we need to do to improve. I'm always, you're the half full, I'm the half empty. I'm always trying to figure out what we can do better. You know, and
perfect. We complement each other.
Yes, we're yin and yangs.
You can't know what to do better unless you do it in the first place. That's true. And so you've already had that big hurdle. And I'm proud of you guys. I wasn't there, but I'm super proud.
Well, thank you.
We definitely wish you were there. And on that note, you know, there are some people that no matter what you do, you're never going to make happy. It's just you're never going to satisfy it. Yeah,
and that's okay.
Tough customer.
Yeah,
and you know what? It only takes 10 reviews to get one negative review, and it probably takes, I think it's like 100 good reviews, the 100 good feelings to get a positive review. Like people are just less likely to comment that. Like if anyone talks about Yelp and things like that, people work with so like think of all the good stuff that was still put in there, even if they did do it in a compliment sandwich. Compliment, criticism, compliment. Like that's okay. Like
yeah. I think like I said, take away more cuttings, food options. Bathrooms were fine. It seemed like.
Or next year we tell everybody to go to that breakfast taco shack you took me to on the way there, and we'll say we'll all meet here because that place was phenomenal.
Dude, Phil ate two. I wouldn't say they were big tacos. I mean, they were okay sized tacos. And I turned around. How many donuts did you eat?
I only had like one or two. I was too excited. I was too excited. I could polish off a hot half dozen if I'm not careful, so I have to watch out. No.
Yeah. I think it was a success, and I think we're already gonna plan for next year. We're gonna start planning soon for next year. Go bigger, go better. And I think we already have a tentative date that would be October 4th for next year. I mean, to put it in perspective, I turned people away this year. I was talking to Kimberly, and I was like, do we want to like do a big stuff? And like, we're just keep it small this year. So I turned away a couple of vendors that, wanted to do food or something like that. And I'm glad we kind of did like the half day thing. I'm glad we kept it kind of small. So we definitely know what we want to do next year to make it even bigger and better. And then Des will be there next year. 100%.
Yes, I will be there next year.
Yay. Next year, we're definitely taking Destin to the Natural History Museum too.
Destin's doing that.
Well, I mean, and now that we know this works, we can reach out to our other Fig friends.
Yeah.
Our other Fig friends. I mean, Phil is in Fig Mecca over there in North Carolina. Like,
I got some of the greater Figtropolis all the way up to New York City and down here, and then see if we can sneak some pro Fig out there. That'd be cool too.
Got two Fig trees now.
That's how it starts.
Boom. And what was I going to say? Why did I blank?
No.
Yeah, it was just like a really cool event. And this was really insightful. I was talking to Kimberly. She's like, I was like, you could do this with your ag extension. I was like, I totally could. Like, I'm really good friends with Lloyd Singleton here, the director of the Arboretum, and that's our New Hanover County ag extension, Arboretum and ag extension through NC State. And I was like, we could easily do a similar pattern that could be reflective in a lot of different states with their ag extension schools too, because it was just it was so well connected, especially with like the Master Gardener programs that we have here too. Like I could see a very similar situation being emulated.
Well, yeah, I mean, y'all could do y'all's in this. Y'all could do y'all's in the spring. We could do ours in the fall.
Love it.
Like do it in April, or reach out to your person and
then I get to have you guys up here when we go to the beach.
Yeah.
Oh, the real beach, the big waves, big sand dunes.
Outer Banks, man.
Seashells.
With John B.
Taffy.
Oh my goodness. Well, guys, I've got let's see how many videos I have. I have 40 minutes of Moody Gardens footage to go through and try to edit into a video.
Destin, I can't thank you enough though. You were such a good host and like planning everything.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, man.
The pleasure was all mine.
Experience.
The pleasure was all mine, dude. No, I loved having y'all. I don't have a whole lot of friends in real life, like in person. Most of my friends are online, and I talk to them on the garden party. It's like that. I have some here too, but like most of y'all are across the country, across the world, and whenever y'all come, I'm gonna roll out the red carpet and do everything I can to make it as awesome as possible. Open up my home and allow y'all in. So I mean, y'all are more than welcome anytime. Just gotta give my wife like a week or two a heads up.
Yeah,
I literally am only 2 hours away.
And if anybody loves Duke, he is as cute and lovable in person as
he just may bite you.
I love him. Oh, I can't imagine him ever biting anyone unless they were being sneaky.
Here's another tip. Whenever you leave my house, make sure you take your underwear with you, by the way.
That was me. I left it on the shower hook.
Oh boy.
I went to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom. I sat down on the toilet. I just got done pulling all the sheets and stuff off the futon, and I sat down on the toilet. I looked up and I was like, "Those aren't my underwear."
At least they weren't on the ground. You didn't step on them. I like hung them nicely because that's where I put my towel. And my underwear. I was like, "I will take a shower now." Sing. And then I made my bed before I left. I knew you were going to strip it, but I just like folded it to look nice, you know.
You do,
and
yes.
Then I did all this other stuff, and I just leave the one.
I was laughing.
Souvenir, a parting gift.
Yeah, something to remember me by. I was just laughing because I sat on the toilet and I go, those are my underwear. Oh man. Oh my god. Well, I posted. I wanted to make sure to get the FigToberfest video out this morning, so it is up. The whole event. It's hard when I'm doing events like this where I'm running around checking everything to like video everything. Maybe next year we definitely bring you and Jeremy in and have Jeremy like documentary style do the whole thing for us.
He will.
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to edit it. He just needs. I need someone to be.
Yes, he does.
Well, I just see someone there videoing because I forget to video.
So good.
I did a lot of time. The time lapse camera was going like all day. It's hard for me to do two things at once. So
it's
I definitely
hard for any of us.
will bring somebody. Yeah.
Especially because we're like, what's this? What's this? There's magic in the
air. Yes. So
anyway.
But you know, I really appreciate y'all coming down. I really had a great time. We're gonna go bigger and better every year. I will try to do my best to get the Moody Garden ones edited in the next week. Like I said, it's 40 minutes, and I didn't video anything inside the greenhouse. It's just inside the rainforest.
Oh.
So
I kept running amok after some cute animal or freaking out. Like I don't know.
She was like, bird.
Oh, and when Des saw the world's smallest deer, it was game over.
Oh yeah.
When it pranced, and she was like, "That's it, we're done." That was the cutest thing on the planet.
Yes.
It was like a mouse deer or something.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Craig, you got family in Tampa. All our best, man.
Oh, yes. I have family in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Well, thoughts and prayers go out to everybody. I know it's making landfall like 9:00 tonight, something like that.
Actually, it sped up. So it was supposed to make landfall overnight, and it sped up exponentially, and it actually was making landfall basically, I think, as we were getting on the podcast. Storm surge was already coming in. It's pretty serious. They've also been dealing with really destructive tornadoes all day. So you know,
why would people not leave? Like, who would stick around for this?
Honestly,
it's so crazy.
But they're dealing with Helene right now. Like, you know, some of them just probably don't have the resources to leave. You know, there are so many reasons that you might stay there, but even so, like, people that have tried to move more inland to escape the storm surge or the worst of it, you know, they're displaced. They're in, you know, they may be in like a campground or something like that, and this is spawning these tornadoes and stuff. So we really just send all the good vibes their way. They were already dealing with flooding.
That was at 2 p.m. This is now. It's 115. It's 115. The eye is making a land. The eye just made landfall. I can actually.
It was 120 miles an hour. The wind when I got on.
So terrifying.
I was watching it all day.
It's terrifying.
It is. And,
I highly recommend this app, Zoom Earth. It's a free app.
I just downloaded it.
I like all the different filters like you can put on here, like the wind speed and stuff. Like it shows you how it's speeding up, but it's so freaking crazy what's going on over here. It's so
devastating. Tampa, I believe, hasn't been hit by a hurricane like this in 100+ years or something like that.
So crazy.
So just
No,
all the good vibes.
It looks like it's moving through there pretty quick. So like Phil was saying, looks like debris, all the debris and everything that they're still recovering from. It's just crazy. So I can't imagine doing this. But everybody stay safe if you're in the Florida area. If you have family there, thoughts and prayers out to everybody. Man, it's terrifying what's going on. And luckily we're almost at the end of hurricane. I mean, I think we're at the end of hurricane season pretty close now. So knock on wood. Knock on freaking wood. I've never seen one go east to west to east before. I've never seen that.
So much.
Is it pretty uncommon, like to see one go that way?
I've seen it happen before, and I got concerned because it'll razor up the coast sometimes if it builds up steam. I think there's just because there's a low pressure system already offshore, and I think there's a high pressure system onshore that it's kind of like pushing it out to sea more. Thankfully, but I've seen it get worse before, where it actually forms like right off Jacksonville, like it almost like breaks down, forms right up again. But that's a really intense storm. So
they're saying this one is going to drag out towards like Africa and stuff, France.
Did y'all see the Lieutenant Dan? Did y'all see that?
No.
So there is a unhoused man, I believe, who lives on like a boat, and he is sticking it out on his boat, a 20-foot boat during a storm. They call him Lieutenant Dan, and he said he's going to stick it out. I saw it on Old Row Official. If I can find it.
28-foot waves, man.
Well, yeah, here it is, Lieutenant Dan Tampa.
Oh,
here it is.
I hope he went out.
I don't think so.
The sea's just gonna push in. First it drags out, and then it comes way back in.
Here we go. A Florida man riding out hurricane. If it's a story starting with a Florida man riding out Hurricane Milton on his boat, alarms TikTok and local officials. Joseph Malinowski told NBC News that he'll only leave his boat if it begins to break apart in the storm.
Wow.
Well, that's a really last-minute effort if it breaks apart in a storm.
Yeah. Not a single person, when he encounters something or a man in a sailboat caught in the wind and being dragged out to sea, not a single person would help me. Wow. So yeah, he's missing a leg. That's why they call him Lieutenant Dan. Oh,
so he was an amputee.
Oh dear God.
Wow.
Oh, he's reenacting it. Okay. I don't encourage anybody to do this. I saw this on Instagram. Do your own research. Man, that's terrifying. I can't imagine doing something like that. But on that note, I hope everybody stays safe. Y'all stick around just for a minute afterwards. And I really appreciate everybody coming and checking out the podcast. Make sure you go check out the video. Like I said, I'll have the Moody Garden one with all three of us on it. And the next time we do FigToberfest, we'll do a better job of videoing the whole thing, the whole weekend. We'll have more people come, and it's going to be bigger and better. So thank you all so much for the support. Thank you all for coming in. Real quick, Des, let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me Gardening with Des on the internet.
How many Z's?
Two Z's. Two Z's. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please follow me on YouTube. I could really use a little bit more friends on YouTube. And again, I don't know what I'm doing in the vegetable garden yet. We'll all find out together. She's
growing nopales, some cactuses.
I wish I were growing some nopales. I like nopales.
Mr. Phil. Dee said she followed you right there. Boom. Phil, what you got going on?
Yay! Thank you, Dee.
And Phil just hit 2,000 followers on YouTube, by the way.
I did.
Yay!
Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah, it's like 2018 now. That's pretty cool.
That's a good year.
Yeah. I just spoke at the Hobby Greenhouse Club again on figs. I think it's my last engagement for the year. which means that my garden's looking a little rough. So I get to revamp it for my my fall, winter gardening. And fig cutting season will begin soon, where I'll start to get my propagation. The other half of the other half, October. Don't get me started. That'd be sick. And I'm going to do that with my pomegranate because I learned how to do pomegranates with Destin. He's like, it's so easy. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, like this. I was like, done.
It's like the easiest one to propagate ever. It's so easy, dude.
And yeah, I'm really excited for this fall now that I got to connect with so many great people. We got to exchange like communication and figs and propagation. And I've just growing a business is great because everything I've reinvested into it, I get to compare to last year with my fig varieties, and this year I'll have even more, and that's really cool because that's just a fun reach aspect. I think my first 2 months of selling cuttings, 90% of them weren't even in North Carolina; they were across the U.S., and that was a really cool connection.
That's awesome.
Super cool.
Thank you to everyone who is in the fig world and appreciates what I'm putting out there.
Oh, 100%, dude. It's been so cool to watch you grow, and you're still super early on in the stage. So I know you're gonna make it big. I know you're gonna do big things, dude.
Thanks, man.
For sure.
I just got started on my fall and winter garden here. I started carrots yesterday using tips I got from Jeremy Trotsky, the carrot whisperer up there, the Dirty Punk Gardening. So hopefully that works out well. I'll be at Enchanted Forest over in Richmond, Texas this Sunday Saturday, not Sunday, at 10 a.m. And I got a bunch of other events coming up. But if you're in the Richmond area, come to Enchanted Forest. It's a beautiful place. Danny and Danette run a beautiful nursery, family owned, and it's a free class, free fall winter gardening class. And we can talk about planting fruit trees for the fall as well if you want. So come on out. We're having a good time and see a really, really beautiful nursery with a lot of good varieties. So real quick, I appreciate everybody hopping on, and we'll see you next week. We got the Plumeria Papa coming on next week. So that's going to be fun. He's from California. That's going to be a fun episode. So yes. All right, guys. See y'all next week.